I'm truly honored to have you here, because the message I'm about to share might just be the turning point you need to unlock your true potential and finally start living the life you've always dreamed of. We all know this. Mornings matter. They set the tone for the rest of the day, the week, and in many ways, your entire life. But what if I told you that simply changing the way you talk to yourself in those early hours could change everything? No long lectures, no complicated rituals. Just a few words, simple but powerful, can reorient your mindset, strengthen your sense of control, and awaken your inner strength. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In today's video, I'll share with you 15 things you should say to yourself every morning to help you live with more clarity, resilience, and purpose. Watch until the end. Don't skip a single one and leave a comment. I choose to live intentionally. If you're ready, let's begin. 1. Today is a new beginning. Each time the first light of morning filters through the window, it's more than just a biological cycle repeating itself. It's a quiet but powerful message. You're being given a second chance. Not everyone receives that privilege. So the moment you open your eyes, remind yourself, today is a new beginning. It's not just a feel-good phrase. It's a doorway to freedom, to choice, to the belief that you are not defined by what happened yesterday. In the spirit of Stoicism, the past holds no power over you unless you hand it that power. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." What happened yesterday, whether it was a hurtful comment, a bitter failure, or a poor decision, does not determine who you are today. The only thing that matters now is how you choose to respond this morning. Picture this. Yesterday, you lost your temper at a colleague over a small misunderstanding. You went to bed with regret. But today, upon waking, you hold a different power. You can choose a new attitude. You can send a message to apologize, greet them with a smile, or simply decide not to carry that weight into this day. A single choice can turn today into the first step toward meaningful change. Every morning is a blank canvas. You are the artist. What will you paint on it? A sad replica of the day before, or a renewed version of yourself, braver, calmer, more compassionate? And remember, a new beginning doesn't demand that you have it all figured out. Sometimes, it's just a quiet resolve to rise from bed, splash cold water on your face, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, "I will do better than I did yesterday." Because when you face the day with intention and grace toward yourself, you don't just create a better day, you are shaping a life with purpose. And it all begins with one simple choice: to embrace today as a new beginning. 2. I have the ability to do great things. It's easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt. When things don't go your way, or when you compare yourself to others, you might start asking, "Am I good enough?" Or, "Do I deserve to dream big?" I get it. I've been there too. But I'm also here to remind you of this. You are capable of great things, not because someone else said so, but because that potential has always lived within you. Every person is born with a unique gift, even if you've failed before, been underestimated, or questioned your own worth, none of that diminishes your true value. You've overcome challenges in the past with resilience, intuition, and a heart that refused to give up. And if you've done it once, you can do it again and again. As Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly. Nothing great is built overnight." Success isn't a miracle. It's the outcome of showing up again and again, even if it's just one step a day. When you believe you're capable, you take ownership and then you act. That quote reminds us that greatness isn't loud or instant. It's steady. It's persistent. Vera Wang once dreamed of becoming a professional figure skater, but that dream didn't come true. She pivoted to fashion editing, working at Vogue for 17 years, and later joined Ralph Lauren. But the real turning point came when she turned 40, unable to find a wedding dress she loved for herself. She decided to design her own. Many thought it was too late to start an entirely new career at that age. But Vera didn't let age define her. She pursued her passion with full intention, building her brand one step at a time. Today, the name Vera Wang is synonymous with elegance and excellence in bridal fashion. Her story proves you don't need to start early. You just need to start with belief and conviction. So each morning, don't just wash your face or make coffee. Pause for a moment, look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am capable of great things and I am ready to receive them. And once belief is in place, the next step is action. But how do you act? How do you turn potential into reality? Stick around because the next part, "Today I will take action," is exactly the answer you're looking for. 3. I will act today. I know that feeling the urge to wait just a little longer, until everything feels perfect, to wait until I'm more ready, more skilled, or less anxious. But the truth is, the perfect moment doesn't exist. It's just an illusion that pulls you away from action. Meanwhile, the only moment you truly have control over is right now. And if you keep waiting, you'll let precious days slip by unnoticed, without moving even an inch closer to your dream. Success, whether big or small, always begins with a first step. It doesn't come to those who sit and hope. It comes to those who are willing to move, even if the steps are shaky, unclear, or uncertain. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." You don't need to understand everything before you're allowed to begin. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. He didn't sit around waiting until he was perfectly educated in electrical science to get started. He acted, he tried, failed, learned, and tried again, each step bringing him closer to a breakthrough that changed the world. Or take J.K. Rowling. She wrote Harry Potter while unemployed, living on government assistance, scribbling in cheap cafes while her baby slept. Nothing was ideal, but she wrote every day, a little at a time. She didn't wait for inspiration. She didn't wait for money. She didn't wait for success to knock. She acted, and that action transformed a single mother into one of the most influential authors in the world. You don't need a perfect plan to move forward. You just need a first step. Every morning you wake up is a reminder. Today is a chance to make a difference, not through grand gestures all at once, but through small, consistent actions. Tell yourself, today, I will take action. I will not wait. I will not delay. Every step I take today, no matter how small, matters. And I believe it is bringing me closer to my dream. 4. I am capable and confident in my ability to handle whatever comes my way today. This morning, you woke up to a packed schedule, an important meeting, an unanswered email, a tough decision waiting to be made. Your heart beats a little faster than usual. There's a hint of anxiety, a flicker of doubt. Can I really handle all of this? That's the moment you need to pause, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I am capable, and I trust in my ability to handle whatever comes my way today. Life never promises ease. Some days will flow smoothly, others will feel like everything is working against you. And that's exactly why this affirmation matters. It doesn't deny the struggle. It doesn't pretend you'll always know what to do. But it reminds you of something more important. You've made it through so much already, and today is no different. In Stoic philosophy, strength doesn't come from avoiding adversity. It comes from facing it and mastering your response. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This affirmation is your morning reminder that you don't need to control everything out there. You only need to control yourself. And you can do that. Whatever challenges today brings a rejection, a tense situation, a difficult choice, you have everything within you to face it. You have resolve, reason, and calm. These qualities have always been there. They just need to be called upon again. Remember, confidence is not arrogance. It's the quiet belief that you'll figure it out. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to take the first step with a steady mind. And this morning, that first step is a reminder. I am capable, and I believe in myself. If you've ever had a day that started with doubt and ended in triumph, share it in the comments. I overcame myself. Because maybe your story is exactly what someone else needs to hear today. 5. I am grateful for my health, my loved ones, and the opportunities I have. Every morning when I wake up, I remind myself of this. Not because life is always easy or perfect, but because I know, as long as I can wake up, as long as I can breathe, as long as I can see the sky, I still have a chance. Gratitude isn't something that comes naturally when everything is going well. It's a choice, a habit, and sometimes a deliberate act that goes against everything life is throwing at you. But it's in those hardest moments that gratitude reveals its deepest strength. Health, maybe you've never really thought about it until you lost it. But imagine this. You woke up this morning without pain, not in a hospital, not hooked up to machines. That's a gift. Loved ones, not everyone has someone who checks in on them or who's willing to listen when they're worn out. And opportunity, no matter how small, is proof that you're still in the game of life. Many people no longer have that chance. A powerful example is Nick Vujicic, a man born without arms or legs. He once wanted to end his life at the age of 10 because he felt utterly hopeless. But then, instead of focusing on what he lacked, he chose to be grateful for what he had. A sharp mind, a strong heart, and an unbreakable spirit. Gratitude is what helped Nick not only survive, but go on to inspire millions of people around the world. He got married, had children, traveled the globe giving talks, and proved this. When you live with gratitude, you live deeper, stronger, and you can reach for things that once felt impossible. So every morning, whether the sky is bright or grey, whether your life feels smooth or stormy, pause for a moment and tell yourself, I'm grateful for my health, for the people who love me, and for the chances, however small, that I still get each day. Gratitude doesn't erase your struggles, but it gives you the perspective to face them with inner strength. 6. I am not afraid of failure. One of the things that held me back the most, years ago, wasn't a lack of skill or opportunity. It was the fear of failure. I once didn't dare to start a project simply because I was afraid of doing it wrong. I turned down a job opportunity just because I thought I wasn't good enough. And then one day, after far too many times of limiting myself, I sat down and asked, what's the worst that could happen? The answer wasn't nearly as frightening as I'd imagined. Failure wasn't the end. It was a comma, a pause, a step back to gain momentum. We're often taught to avoid mistakes at all costs. But if you look deeper, you'll see no great achievement ever comes without scars. Every successful entrepreneur has been bankrupt. Every great artist has faced rejection. Every wise person has been painfully schooled by life. So why should we feel ashamed of failing? It was only when I dared to face and learn from my first failure, a small business project where I lost every bit of my savings, that I learned the real lessons of patience, management, and courage that no book could ever teach. That failure didn't destroy me, it shaped me. And from that point on, I began to see everything differently. I came to believe that God doesn't bring failure to punish us, but to teach us. What seem like obstacles may actually be His way of molding us, not to break us, but to train our patience, resilience, and inner strength. I began to understand that failure isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign that a process is underway, a process that God is quietly guiding, even when the destination is still unclear. Perhaps it is through those stumbles that we truly learn to walk on our own, with the faith that we are being led to the right place, at the right time, to become exactly who we were created to be. So now, every morning, instead of avoiding failure, I choose to embrace it as an essential part of the journey. I choose to move forward even when I'm afraid, to act even when I'm unsure, and to believe. I'm not afraid to fail because I know failure is just part of the path to success. And I hope you'll say the same to yourself starting today. 7. I will face today with a positive attitude. In 1962, Nelson Mandela walked into Robben Island prison with a life sentence. Locked away under harsh conditions for 27 years, he had every reason to become bitter, angry, and hopeless. But each morning, in that cramped prison cell, Mandela chose to hold on to a positive spirit. He once said, "I have learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." It was this attitude, light in the darkness, that not only kept him alive, but made him a symbol of forgiveness, of inner freedom, of the power to rise above adversity, and lead an entire nation. You may not be physically imprisoned like Mandela, but in modern life, we still face our own invisible prisons every day. Work pressure, family expectations, bad news on social media, unpredictable setbacks. And in that reality, attitude is the one thing you always control. You can't steer everything that happens around you, but you can choose how you respond. When you start your day with a positive mindset, you're not denying reality. You're choosing to face it with intention and hope. A positive attitude isn't naive, it's a conscious act of courage. It's seeing the challenge and still believing you'll find a way through. It's recognizing that something bad might happen and still refusing to let it define your mood. And the beautiful thing is, when you choose to stay positive, you don't just improve the quality of your own day, you radiate that energy to the people around you. And I want to pause here for a moment to thank you for sticking with me through the first half of this video. That tells me you're truly taking time to rebuild from within, to choose a life of awareness, action, and inner strength. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll stay with me until the end of the video, because what's coming next is even more meaningful. Now let's continue with what you tell yourself every morning at 8. I will treat myself kindly. We often think of kindness as something we extend to others, but it is just as important to direct it inward. Being kind to yourself means understanding and forgiving your own flaws and mistakes, much like how you would treat a dear friend or a beloved family member. It requires self-reflection and a personal commitment to compassion toward yourself. When we practice self-kindness, we improve our mental and emotional health and live a happier, more fulfilling life. Yet sadly, many of us find it easier to say cruel things to ourselves than we ever would to someone else. A minor mistake, being late to an appointment, missing an opportunity, forgetting a detail, can trigger a flood of harsh self-criticism. I'm terrible. I never get anything right. We become our own worst bully while showing grace to others. It's not only unfair, it's deeply damaging. In Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Treating yourself with kindness starts with changing how you respond to your own missteps. Instead of punishment, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I make tomorrow better than today? For example, if you've fallen behind on an important goal like a morning exercise routine, instead of scolding yourself with, "I'm so lazy," try reframing it as an opportunity to adjust. Maybe I set the bar too high to start with. Today, I'll try again, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Self-kindness also shows up in the small things: resting when you're tired, saying no when you need to, eating a comforting meal when your mood dips. Each of these acts is a quiet reminder that you are worthy of care, even in your imperfect moments. So, every morning, remind yourself of this: I will treat myself with kindness because I am worthy of love, patience, and forgiveness from myself. 9. I am responsible for my own happiness. Many of us grow up believing that happiness comes from the outside, from success, money, the perfect partner, or some major event that must happen for us to feel whole. But as time goes on, we achieve some of those things, only to realize if happiness does show up, it's fleeting. It doesn't stay. Why? Because we've given something else the power to control how we feel. Stoic philosophy teaches us that happiness doesn't depend on circumstances. It depends on how we respond to them. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." We can't control everything that happens to us, but we can always control how we react, and that's where our true power lies. I once knew a friend named Cindy. She went through a painful breakup, lost her job almost at the same time, and had no family nearby. But instead of falling apart, she started each morning by writing down 3 things she was grateful for. Cindy learned to find joy in the small things: a warm cup of coffee, a sunny afternoon, a good book. Gradually, her mood shifted. Not because her circumstances magically improved overnight, but because she took back control of her emotional state. And that's when happiness returned, not loud or dramatic, but deep and real. Each morning, when I look in the mirror and remind myself, I'm responsible for my own happiness, I'm choosing to live intentionally, I refuse to blame. I don't wait for others to make me happy. I don't let my environment decide my emotions. Happiness is a choice. It's an action. It's a daily commitment to myself. So today, what will you choose? Are you ready to take responsibility for your own happiness? Leave a comment. I choose to take responsibility for my own happiness. I'd love to hear from you. What's something that made you feel happy today? 10. I have control over my thoughts and emotions. Life never runs out of surprises, and not all of them are pleasant. Some mornings, you wake up to a message that instantly throws you off balance. A careless comment from someone can leave you feeling wounded all day. A disapproving look, an unexpected setback, or even just a traffic jam during rush hour, any of these can stir up powerful emotions. But you know what? None of those things control you unless you let them. The Stoics understood a simple truth with immense power. You can't control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond. That's where true freedom lies. Your mind is sacred ground, and you alone hold the key. Picture yourself on the way to work, and suddenly someone on the street starts yelling insults at you for no reason. In an instant, your face flushes, your chest tightens. But if you pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, do I really want to hand over control of my emotions to this stranger? You'll feel the shift. Choosing not to react impulsively doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong, internally strong. Being in control of your thoughts and emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means you observe, understand, and respond deliberately. You can acknowledge that you're angry, but instead of letting the anger drive your actions, you choose calm. You might feel disappointed, but instead of complaining, you choose to seek out a new perspective and learn from the situation. Each morning, when you repeat this affirmation, you're reminding yourself of your power. No person and no outside event can knock you off balance unless you allow it. And let me remind you of this. You always have a choice. Even when the outside world is chaotic, your inner world can remain peaceful. Say it out loud. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions, and today I choose peace, positivity, and strength. 11. I deserve success and happiness. There's a quiet truth that many of us go a lifetime without fully believing, that we deserve to be happy, to succeed, just as we are. No conditions, no proof required. From a young age, we were taught to work hard, to sacrifice a lot, and even to suffer first before we could earn the right to enjoy anything. Joy and success often feel like distant rewards, reserved only for those who've passed some grueling life test. But Stoicism doesn't teach that. Stoicism teaches that what we control is our mind, and our worth comes from how we see ourselves. No one but you can take away your right to a meaningful life, a life filled with love, purpose, and achievement. You don't need to do anything good enough to earn happiness. You don't need anyone's permission to succeed. And you don't have to prove your worth, because your existence alone is proof enough. Let go of the voice inside that keeps telling you you're not enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough, because you are enough, right now, as you are. Pause for a moment and really feel that. Feel that you don't need to fight for love. You don't have to succeed to be accepted. When you begin to believe in your inherent worth, the world begins to treat you accordingly. The universe responds to the energy you emit. And when you move forward with confidence, gratitude, and a heart open to receive, success and happiness aren't just possible, they're inevitable. Every morning, remind yourself, I deserve success and happiness, and I welcome both with gratitude. And if you're ready to open your heart even wider, join me in the next affirmation, something small but powerful enough to change the way you see life. I choose gratitude over complaint. You'll be amazed at how powerful that truly is. 12. I choose gratitude over complaining. Every morning, while the world is still half asleep, you have a choice in how to begin your day. You can focus on what's not perfect, what's missing, the dreams still unfinished, and see a heavy day looming ahead. Or you can choose gratitude. Gratitude doesn't mean denying hardship or ignoring pain. It means consciously deciding to focus on what is good and present, no matter how small, no matter how simple, and allowing it to lift your spirit. When you choose gratitude, you step out of a mindset of scarcity and into a mindset of abundance. Gratitude doesn't require you to have everything. It only asks that you recognize what you already have. A warm cup of tea, a message from someone you love, one deep and steady breath. All of these are miracles if you choose to see them through the eyes of gratitude. In that very act of choosing, you reclaim power over your mind. Complaining is a reflex. Gratitude is courage. Think of Nick Vujicic, born without arms or legs, yet he became one of the most inspiring speakers in the world. He didn't choose to complain about what he lacked. Instead, he chose to live with gratitude, thankful for a strong heart, for the chance to be alive, to share his story. Nick once said, "I can choose to be bitter, or I can choose to be better." He chose gratitude, and his life has become a beacon of light for millions. So every morning, when you face yourself in the mirror, remember, you have the power to choose your attitude. Instead of complaining that it's Monday, be grateful that you have one more chance to live, to learn, to love, and to try. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, but it changes you, and when you change, your world changes with you. Leave a comment below. Today, I choose gratitude. And share the first thing you're grateful for this morning. You never know. Your words might just inspire someone else. 13. I am growing up every day. Growing up isn't a single moment when you suddenly become someone. It's a long series of small, quiet, consistent choices you repeat every day. I know. There are mornings when you wake up and wonder, have I changed at all? There are times when you feel stuck, like you haven't moved forward even one step. But I want you to pause, take a deep breath, and remember this. Growth doesn't always make noise. It might be choosing not to react immediately to an insult. It might be quietly forgiving someone because you deserve peace. It might be writing down a plan, even though no one asked you to, or simply reminding yourself to drink enough water, sleep on time, and stop postponing your life for another day. You're growing through all those small actions without needing applause to prove it. Once, a friend of mine said, "I just want to give up because it feels like everything I'm doing is invisible." But a few months later, she realized she was no longer afraid of rejection, no longer weighed down by the little things. That's the clearest sign of maturity. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to persist. Even Stoicism teaches us this. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly. Every achievement takes time, and so do you. Each morning, don't wait for a miracle to change your life. Be the miracle by choosing better than you did yesterday. And when you feel slow, tired, or unsure of yourself, tell yourself, I am growing every day, and I believe every step is bringing me closer to the best version of who I am." And when you've found steady ground on that path of growth, a new question will arise. If I don't need anything more, if I don't need to become anyone else to feel whole, am I already enough? Let's explore that together in the final part, where a simple truth might just free you from the weight of the world. 14. I am complete myself. In a world that constantly whispers in your ear, you need to be more skilled, more attractive, more successful. It's easy to forget one simple yet powerful truth. You are enough, not after you achieve something, not when you finally become someone else, but right now, in this very moment, exactly as you are already whole. I know there are mornings when you wake up feeling like you're not enough. You scroll through social media and see others seemingly doing better, living more complete lives. But that's an illusion. What you don't see is the journey they're carrying, the wounds they hide, and the silent comparisons they're also weighed down by. The truth is, you're not in a race with anyone. Your journey is one of a kind. Your worth doesn't come from being recognized or admired by others. It comes from your courage to be yourself, to live honestly and authentically. I once spoke with a friend, a young painter who constantly felt she wasn't talented enough because her work didn't sell as well as others. She was ready to give up. But after months of reconnecting with herself, she realized painting wasn't about proving anything. It was how she expressed her soul. And when she stopped painting out of fear of not measuring up, and instead painted out of love for the process itself, her first pieces began to resonate with others. She didn't change to fit the world. She grew strong because she realized she was already enough. So each morning, when you look in the mirror, don't just search for flaws. Look into your own eyes and say it back to yourself. I am already whole. You don't need anything more to be worthy of love. You don't need to fix yourself to be accepted. This sense of wholeness isn't arrogance, it's deep acceptance. It means you can keep growing, keep learning, not because you're lacking, but because you honor who you are. And when you live from that place of wholeness, the world begins to respond, not because you've become someone else, but because you finally become entirely yourself. And those are the powerful affirmations you can say to yourself every morning, not just to start a good day, but to gradually build the life you truly desire. I believe that change begins with you, with the words you choose to whisper to yourself. Thank you for listening and being here. If this video brought you value, please hit like, share it with your loved ones, and leave a comment. I choose to live with intention. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos.